All right, so I am back, second part of the video. Here's the equipment that I use. So obviously a camera. The camera that I use is my professional work camera. It is a Canon 5D Mark III. It is a high-end professional full-frame camera, but if you have a Rebel, any of your SLRs, SLR meaning you can switch out the lens. Any of the stuff will work with any of the SLRs. So the entry level for the Canon brand is the Rebel line, and the entry level with the Nikon brand, I think, is the ones that start, it's like 7,000. I can't remember what the latest ones for Nikon is, but it's usually 4 digits for Nikon for their entry level. The lens I use is a Canon 50mm lens. The one I have is the 1.2. They do have a entry level one, I know, for both Canon and Nikon. It is the 50mm 1.8. The reason why I use this instead of a zoom, like this is a fixed lens. It does not zoom in and out. I use my feet. There's a reason why I chose the 50mm lens is because it is closest to human eye, and it will not, if you use a lens that is wider than 50, it will kind of give a warped perspective. So if you've ever seen pictures and it's a full mannequin and it's got all the background in, but it kind of like looks warped or there's something off with the angles, it's usually because they're using a wide angle lens, and it's kind of skewing the perspective. The flashes that I use are right here. They are the Yongnuo YN600EX-RT. I have 2 of those. I set up my my equipment with 2 flashes. I have one coming in from each side at a 45-degree angle. These are the knockoffs of the Canon brand. The Canon brand is it is the 600EX, and those are running about, last time I checked, when they first were introduced, they were about $500 a pop. These are about $150 each. So significantly less. Functionality is exactly the same. It might not be built as sturdy as the Canon brand, but for a couple $100 difference, it's doable. This also is necessary. This is your transmitter. This is what's, instead of using wires from the camera to the flash to tell it, hey, I need you to fire. This is what tells the flashes to fire. So this is completely wireless, which is nice if you have small kids. You don't have to worry about kids tripping over anything if they're under, if they have to be in the same room as you're doing it. So they're not going to knock over or pull over your light stands or flashes. This one is the Canon brand. It is the Canon Speedlight Transmitter ST-E3-RX. There is a Yongnuo equivalent, and I have everything written down, and I'll show this at the end. It's the YN560-TX. And I did not look at the price point comparison, but I would assume it's like everything else, pennies on the dollar kind of a deal. I do put my batteries out here. All these use just regular household batteries. I use the Enloop brand. They last forever. They hold a charge very well. They do not, they don't, even when you're not using them, if they're in the case, they don't, I forget what the word is, but they don't become uncharged if they sit over a period of time. It takes a while. So, there's a lot of startup costs to do it this way, but once you're set, you're set. Like, I don't have to pay for batteries every time, because otherwise every time I did a session, I would have to get another pack of batteries. So, which, you're looking at 4 in here and 4 in here and possibly another 2. So that's 10 batteries every time I was going to photograph clothes. And that's going to add up over time. So I would suggest going ahead, biting the bullet, and getting the rechargeable batteries. And the charger I have here is the PowerX. everything that I've shown so far, you can get on Amazon. And then the last two things that I use, this is a light stand, just a basic, I think this is just a basic 7-foot light stand. If you already have the constant lights, the kind of the fluorescent ones that you plug in, you already have a light stand, so you don't have to worry about getting anything else. And then on top, I have a speed light mount or flash mount. And this also has, see that little hole there? That is where your umbrella is going to go. So you need to make sure you have a speed light mount with an umbrella mount attached to it. So you're, I set this down without it falling. So your speed light's going to mount here. Your umbrella is going to go through here. And this whole thing will tripod out. And you'll be able to set it up on the floor. And the last thing I have, and this is probably one of the places I would not skimp on. This is a Westcott brand umbrella. It is a 43-inch. No, this one's a 60-inch. I'm sorry. Let's see. I think both of mine are 60 inches. Yeah, this is a 60-inch. So it's, 60 inches is going to be a 5-foot spread when it's open. It's nice and big. With photography and lights, the bigger the light source, which is what this is going to be when you've got your flash in there, the better off you are. The more even, soft light you will have. The smaller the umbrella, the more condensed, the more shadows you will see. This is a shoot-through umbrella. It is, it's all white. I do have a black cover that I have that I can put on top of it and flip it around, so it is a reflective umbrella or a bounce umbrella, and I can show you how that is done as well. So it just slides over top, you flip the umbrella around, and the light, instead of shooting through directly on your product, it bounces off the back of the umbrella back onto your product. And I can talk about the pros and cons of both of those. And so I have 2 light stands, 2 umbrellas, 2 flashes, 1 trigger, camera, and batteries. And that's all I have for my setup. So I'm going to stop right here since I've gone through the equipment. Here is, and I did write down what I talked about. Everything that I've talked about you can get on Amazon, and a lot of these items are on Prime. As far as the light stands go, I did not list a brand. There are tons of cheap brands out there. A light stand is a light stand is a light stand. If you're not using them commercially, I wouldn't worry about them. And the same with the flash / speed light mount. Some are easier to use than others. During my session, you'll actually see I've got a couple different types that I have 2 different ones that I use on the 2 different stands. So as long as it gets the job done is kind of my motto. So here we go.